Hello everyone and welcome back to Let's Play The Legend of Zelda Oracle of Seasons. In the last part, we took out King Goblin, or Moblin rather, and got a heart piece from that. And now we're gonna make some progress towards the next dungeon, but it's mostly gonna be some side questing stuff. And we're actually gonna be heading back to a place a place we've actually been to before. I thought it was optional at the time, but no, I was actually incorrect in stating such. It was optional for the point we were at. It's back up here. And also, one thing I completely forgot existed. Secret solo spot right there. And then I go the wrong direction. Now we want to head into this cave, which doesn't look like something at first. We'll obviously need the flippers to get in here. But this is actually this game's Goron Cave. It's much smaller, thankfully, but it's still there. Oh, well, then this is nice. Oh, wow, that lever totally blindsided me. Now, if you're just playing the game straight, not doing the side quests, you can entirely avoid this area. But I still want to come here for reasons. Namely, if you're doing the trade quest, you want to come up here and talk to Big Goron, who is still really big. In fact, his sprite looks very similar to his Minish Cap one. He has a cold, and we need to give him the lava soup in order to make him feel better. And for doing that, we get the Goron vase. We'll do something with that later on. However, if you're playing a linked game, after doing such, this red Goron appears. His ancestors are from Rolling Ridge, and he wants to give us a secret to do some research with, so write that down, and we'll get that to Labrina next part. That was the next password I told you I was waiting for last time. There's actually only one left in the game, and we can't get it until towards Dungeon 7. Which, keep in mind, we haven't even done Dungeon 4 yet. Though, my god, the item I'm gonna get from that one's going to break it. And down here we got this guy who gives you, I want to say, 300 rupees. Yeah, 300 rupees. Oh boy. It's weird. Oracle of Seasons, I think, is harder to get money in, but when you find money, you get more of it than you could in Ages, because the most money I recall getting in Ages is 200 at any point in time. Anyway, next we want to bomb open this little cave so we can do stuff. Come up here, and we're back outside. That cave to the left there, well, the cave above us and to the left, the one that's on the exact opposite side of that rock next to me, I forget what's in there. I think it might just be some sort of weird random treasure chest that has a useless amount of rupees. And I will say, while this is 100%, I'm not, like I mentioned in Ages, this isn't a 100% ring thing. I'm not getting all the rings, I'm getting whatever I want to, or can in a way. There are some chests that I'm just not going for. Like, I know there's one near Spool Swamp that has the Octorok ring, but that's not worth it, honestly. Anyway, this guy is lonely, and since we came to see him, he's going to upgrade our ring box to level 3, so we can now hold 5 rings. That is useful, to say the least. Anyway, now we actually want to head to the place we're supposed to go. There are actually 2 ways you can get here. In the northwestern screen of Sunken City, there's actually an underwater path you can get to this section of the overworld, but I'm not going to show that off, at least not till next part. You can take out these specific Deku Scrubs by knocking 2 of their seeds back at them, but I've always found it pretty finicky. All they tell you is hints towards where to find the next dungeon key, and the next dungeon key lock. Hey, Moosh! I just saw Moosh. Now, Moosh, you might remember him from Seasons as the flying bear we helped out in the graveyard. But we can't do anything for him quite yet. We need to head to Subrosia first. Alright, let's see what we have to do. What the... Oh, you little... How was my feather flying? Anyway, they just stole our stuff and gave us a useless Fool's Ore, which you can actually swing like a weapon. I'm not sure if it actually damages enemies. It probably doesn't. It's probably acts very similar to the fist, but ugh. We need to get our Rock's Feather back. So we need to track them down and find it. This section is essentially a sequel to the Rosa hide-and-seek segment from before Dungeon 2. So we just need to avoid their eyesight and make it to the end. Also, wow, I just realized this, that the trees here are the exact same ones from the Dark World in Link to the Past. I have never noticed that. Mind you, I don't go back to A Link to the Past often, nor do I come back to this game often, but... Huh. Actually, that's the weird thing. For some reason, whenever I find myself playing an Oracle of game for the Zelda series, in my own time even, it's always towards Christmas. I have distinct memories on Christmas Eve of playing the Tokay Island segment from Ages. And it's weird, too, because it's currently December 14th, so that is still happening to me. What the hell? Anyway, going back to the hide-and-seek segment on screen right now, it's simultaneously harder and easier than the Rosa one. Because there's two of them, obviously, so you have the problem of having to keep track of two at once. However, they take much simpler paths than Rosa did. And gee, I wonder if that one specific spot on the left side of the screen is important. Probably not. Also, oddly enough, even though this is the final hide-and-seek screen, I find it to be the easiest. I don't know why that is, but it is. Anyway, we got a Rock's Feather back right now. Sorry, I was looking away from the screen, so I thought I just got that now. I should really learn to just look at one screen and not get distracted by what's on my TV. Anyway, as you can see, we've actually explored a majority of Subrosia by now. And what's really cool is at this point in the game, you can actually hear a one-of-a-kind area song if you go a couple screens away from where I'm heading next. The unique song is from this next screen, I think 3 screens right. Or 2, whichever. There's a buried ship you can go into. Hey, the pirate guys from Ages, how you been? And no, I'm not joking, those are the exact guys from Ages. They're not just similar people. Keep in mind what this guy's doing right here. He's gonna push these drawers in a specific order, and you're gonna want to remember this for later in the game. Towards Dungeon 7, actually. Oh, by the way, I should mention, that Subrosia there, he might seem out of place, but that's because this is his house and they're invading it. However, you want to come down here for more than one reason. This Subrosian portal, or overworld portal as it is, considering we're already in Subrosia, can only be accessed from this side. There's no way to hit that switch from the staircase. And you want to do that because it takes you right to Horon Village. Nice little shortcut there. And with that, we're done for side questing stuff here in Subrosia, at least. No, not quite, actually, never mind. I just remembered, there's a Gasha seed we can get right now I'm working on. Right in here. Also, I get this is a fantasy world and all, but shouldn't being just this close to lava be burning our flesh? And mind you, this is not the last time a Capcom developed game would do that. I'm looking at you, Resident Evil 5's final boss. Even though the dialogue during that entire thing is hilarious. Then again, Resident Evil dialogue in general is just golden. Anyway, free Gasha Seed right there. If you got going for that, that means you either A, have the heart piece already, or B, don't care. And I can understand either. And now we're actually back in the Temple of Seasons for the final seasonal spirit. I actually really like the fact that you can, well, more accurately, you can actually get spring or autumn first, depending on which way you go about things. I'm the spring of spirit, yes. What is this verbal dyslexia I have? Oh, that's right, they're called spoonerisms. Either way, we get spring. We have all 4 seasons. Yay. We never have to come back here again. No, I'm serious. I think we're actually done in Subrosia. No, we're not. Never mind. I just remembered, there's one other thing we have to do in here later on that's not required. We're actually back outside of Subrosia now, because now that we have spring, we can activate this, stump. Well, more like we can use this stump to make it spring. Because the thing is, you might recall we saw Moosh earlier on the right. He is hungry and wants a spring banana, which is on the cliff 2 screens north of us. But we need to go through these flowers here in order to get to that cave, or in order to get up here. The thing is, those flowers are only cuttable in spring. Anyway, we got the Flying Kuko here. The way he works, mash A after you have the power bracelet on him. That is technically timed, though it's very easy if you're good at button mashing. Oh, and fun fact, we're in the very top right of the map right now, if I recall correctly. Oh, you little... goddamn bats. You were annoying in Zelda 2 as it was, but here you're actually nowhere near as annoying. Anyway, we got some bananas. Now in here, you actually have a completely optional area that you can use to get a ring. I'm going for it, but the ring in here is the green joy ring, if I recall correctly. What that does, then it doubles the amount of, the number of ore chunks you get in Subrosia per every single one you get. So if you get 1, you get 2, you get 10, you get 20. And if you get a golden ore chunk, which is extremely rare, yes, in fact you can only get it by redoing that hide and seek minigame, or a gosh and see at the same time, it's random what you get from that game from now on, you'll get 100. Anyway, we got the spring banana from Moosh, so now we can use him to fly like a bear. Like in Ages, you press A for him to jump, mash it for him to hover, and if you hold the button down, he'll do that little ground pound, which can actually be used to shovel snow out of the way. I see you, heart piece. Anyway, here's where you're required to use Moosh. If you got Moosh in Ages, or in this game because you want him as your animal partner for some reason, you wouldn't need to do that spring banana section at all. Anyway, we just got the next key for the dungeon. I forget which one it is, but we got... I think it's the dragon's key, actually. Yeah, it is. But we got the key. However, there's still some more side stuff I want to do. First off, I want to head here back to Spool Swamp and make it spring. Now that we have the spring season, we can actually get a couple of more things. Namely, we can come over here. You may have noticed if you were wandering around Spool Swamp earlier, no matter which character it is, that there is a heart piece entangled around some moss. Or with moss entangled around it. That moss, or spikes, or whatever, only disappears in spring, so this is the only time you can get heart piece number 8. And that is also our next heart container. That leaves us with 10 heart containers. And that still means I have that one freaking Gasha heart piece to get. Ugh. Also, that hidden underwater passage to Mount Kuko is at the very north of that screen, the farthest northern water square. Anyway, we're here in Sunken City because this guy wants the Goron base we got at the beginning of the parts in exchange for, guess what? A fish. Oh god, I'm allergic, no! And now we're back just north of Horon Village because this guy is having trouble getting his cat down from that tree. Let's see, what do cats like? Fish. Do the math. This is how we get the next item of the trade sequence, which is the megaphone, if I recall correctly. Yep. Kind of a random place for a, megaphone, but okay. Anyway, next up, I actually want to make it summer again in this area, not to visit the Golden Old Man, but instead to get something required. If you come to this screen when it's summer, there's this bombable wall here since the lake was drained. And in doing so, you can get another story-required item, this square jewel. If you're playing Seasons first, that is 100 rupees. And now we're back on this screen again with Spring, because, well, first off, we can continue on the training sequence, and second off, I want that heart piece. We finally get to use these flowers again. We haven't been able to do that since... I want to say Horon Village in Part 1. Anyway, this is Talon. You know, Malon's dead and he's sleeping as usual, I see. But we can use the megaphone on him to get the mushroom, which is the next item in the trading sequence. And also the third to last one. And there's also a ring. I think that is the Subrosian ring, which will turn you into a Subrosian when equipped. Pretty useless, honestly. Now, the next screen I'm going to is actually a required screen. In fact, all these screens are in terms of progress. Because, as you'll see on the waterfall there is definitely something there. But we can't do anything with that yet. Instead, we can jump down here just to get heart piece number 9. And next up, let's see, what did I do next? Yes, we are back in Sunken City during winter because, well, first off, we can go talk to Ambi up there, but we also need to head into Syrup's hut there because, well, reasons. Why Ambi would like to sunk her palace. Sink, that is the word. I don't know. Anyway, Syrup here wants that mushroom to make stuff. Why we get a wooden bird from her, I'm not sure. Also, it's at this point that, words. Syrup's hut starts getting items in there. And this guy wants the wooden bird to make the best cuckoo clock ever. And now, to end off the trading sequence with what is technically the last item, we're back here at the phonograph man. And he wants the engine grease that we got from the wooden bird guy in order to speed up his phonograph. And he, for some reason, has more than one. You know, I could have sworn that sped up the music, but I think I'm actually thinking of Ocarina of Time. Yeah, I am, actually. But with that, we're done for side questing stuff, mostly for now. So with that, and us heading back to Sunken City via Tornado, I'm gonna need to end this off here. Thank you guys for watching, and in part 10 we'll be continuing on towards the next dungeon, probably entering it in the process. Sorry, wrong word. See you guys then.